So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
Are you including the Martin renovation? You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's not new.
I guess the news there is that Donald Trump got Jerome Powell to wear a hard hat, but the real scoop is that Jerome Powell in real time failed to be humiliated by Donald Trump by putting on his glasses, reading the document Donald Trump pulled out of his pocket, and making a fool out of Donald Trump for getting his facts wrong about the cost of multiple buildings being renovated. Vaughn Hilliard, that seemed like a colossal failure. Where are they going next?
I mean, though, may I say, Nicole, the number of people that we have on camera with the current sitting president here in 2025 repudiating and pushing back against his commentary, it's a very small number. Volodymyr Zelensky, Mark Carney, and I think Jerome Powell. I'd have to spend a little bit more time coming up with a longer list if there is one. Jerome Powell, it was a question of whether the Fed chair was going to be here for this moment with the president coming over to take a look at the Federal Reserve headquarters, which is undergoing this major renovation. We should be clear. It's not with taxpayer money. It's with Fed Reserve resources to go through this renovation here. The president cannot fire the Fed chairman, but people within his White House are essentially laying the foundation to claim that there was fraud by Jerome Powell in this renovation, that they are over budget, and that is where you saw the dispute between the 2.5 billion construction costs versus now the 3.1 billion, and you see Jerome Powell saying, well, that was including a third building that we already finished 5 years ago, so that shouldn't be included. I asked Russ Vought last week, the OMB director, who has been on the front lines of arguing this supposed fraud, if he had any specific allegations to point to, and he said, well, that's what they're looking into. So it's another moment where this administration is alleging fraud or wrongdoing before actually having that evidence and looking after. That's quite a remarkable moment of television, I think, that we just saw.
I mean, such a debacle for Trump. He should have stuck with nanny, 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 I don't like you. I mean, that was ridiculous. I got flap sweat for the president. Glenn, this is the story he doesn't want us to talk about. This is a deposition, a taped deposition with Jeffrey Epstein. It is. Let me actually provide some context. It's from back in 2010. The series of questions were about associations, precisely what is sort of at the beating heart, at the intersection of the conspiracy theory and sort of the fact pattern. The piece that MAGA wants most is all the powerful people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. So this was a line of questioning about David Copperfield, about Alan Dershowitz and others. And this happened. Let me play this for you.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
There's something eerie, I guess, about the voice from the grave, but that was Jeffrey Epstein in his own words when asked about being with Donald Trump in the presence of girls under 18.
I mean, we had some reporting. A reporter at our paper, a couple of reporters at our paper, wrote a story earlier this week talking about Trump being in the presence of Epstein with a young woman. I think that Epstein said something along the lines of "This one's for me" or something in the story. I don't recall it exactly.
Ms. Farmer, yeah, he says, "quote This one's not for you." Yeah,
right. So I think the one thing we should keep pointing to is there have been a lot of investigations that have gone on to this prior to the ones that the Trump administration itself is conducting, and they have not found sufficient evidence, or from our reporting over the years as a paper, anything that's really a predicate for a serious investigation into Trump's involvement in this sort of thing. But again, it gets back to this issue of how his base can reconcile their passion to find out about what happened, and also the energy that this emanates from. Trump's entire political movement is predicated on belief there's a rich and powerful cabal of people who are not accountable to regular folks, who are scheming in the background, and that he's not part of that, and he's going to tear that down. This cuts against it. The question is, will there be, and we haven't necessarily seen it in the polling, but will there be a moment, particularly as we move towards the midterms and towards a period of time where Donald Trump really does become a lame duck president, when they decide to split off and take care of themselves and try to turn Trumpism into something different, bigger than him, that can survive him, and more importantly for them, that can keep them making money and keep them getting elected.
Imagine the president gets up and goes to the front of the Fed building, paper in hand, waving it in Jerome Powell's face and saying, "Look, they're cheating us." That's not enough. Powell puts on his glasses and calmly reads it, then says to Trump, "Brother, the money you're talking about is for a building that was complete 5 years ago." Can you believe it? The man is the president, yet he can't even handle a simple construction bill. Of course, this isn't new. Remember in 2016, he was going to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it. What happened? The wall remained full of holes, and the bill came out of Americans' pockets. Now he's attacking the Fed because he's shouting about the economy. But all he understands about the economy is renovating the kitchen of the clubhouse built on the golf course. If it were just that, it would be fine. There's also the Epstein issue, which is a whole other dystopia. Have you heard the audio recording of the man speaking from the grave? Epstein is literally using the Constitution as a shield, saying Trump and young girls. 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, 13th Amendment. So how does that work? The mega crowd believes the world is run by a secret elite, right? What about Trump? What about Epstein? They were in the same party, on the same jet, on the same islands. Now Trump is accusing others of being part of Trump, that corrupt system, while he is smiling for the camera with Epstein. To make matters worse, he is telling his own people to go after Powell, call him a fraud. But there is no evidence. Is this the people's president? Is this a leader who will drain the swamp? Honestly, he is the frog in the swamp they talk about. Look, friends, this is not about renovating a building. This is about Trump pulling the same trick he has been pulling for years. Make an accusation, wave documents around while misreading them, portray yourself as the victim, then have the pro-Trump media foam at the mouth and millions believe it. That's how this man's career has been going. There is no wrongdoing here. There is no wrongdoing here. But the crowd cheers. Our guys is fighting the system again. How lovely. Meanwhile, no one asks, "Brother, what were you doing with Epstein? How were those 7-star golf courses built? Where's the wall money?